Welcome to part 3 in the non-violent communication training series. My name is Parrish, and this is the V2V Podcast. Today, we're looking at the 4 steps of non-violent communication, the 4 steps of action. So let's get right into it. Step 1, we observe the situation objectively without judgment. So the process starts by looking at what is actually going on in any given situation, but not judging anybody or anything involved in that situation. The idea is to observe without evaluation. And it's not always easy. For example, let's say that your child is refusing to clean his room. So rather than reacting, the first step is to stop and pause and take a look without evaluation. So you don't want to say, look at this place. It's a mess. It's a judgment. Clean up your room. Right? So a more NVC way to approach it would be to take a look and say, I see toys on the floor and they're scattered around the room. You see the difference. You're not making an evaluation, but simply an observation of the fact that there are indeed toys on the floor that are scattered around the room. You're not saying this is horrible. You're not saying, oh my God, what a mess, which introduces some element of shame or guilt. Just make an objective statement. Judgments include statements like, oh my God, what a mess, or calling someone mean or stupid or lazy, racist, selfish, wrong. These kinds of words are about making another person bad in some way. Put downs, labels, comparisons. There are other more subtle ways of placing judgment that include the words always, never, frequently. They're often used loosely or to exaggerate a particular situation. For example, my kid's room is always messy. It confuses the observation that there are toys on the floor scattered around the room with the evaluation that my kid's room is always messy. So we're looking for a pure observation that's without comparison to anything, let's say, in the past. You're not looking at the toys on the floor, comparing them to last week when there were also toys on the floor, therefore defining your child as always having a messy room. Now, if you want to refer to the past, you could say something like, last week there were also toys on the floor scattered around the room. Or you could say several other times I've seen this, but making broad generalizations like always is vague and often adds the element of judgment to what would be a normal objective observation. So learning to just look and observe without judgment can be tricky. It's one of the hardest steps in this process, because most people are used to moving from seeing something, observing it, to immediately evaluating and comparing and then judging immediately, very quickly. So learning to just observe a situation can mean pausing and looking at the entirety of what's going on more carefully. You don't want to be in a hurry in order to accomplish this step. For example, if someone shoots someone on the street and you see it, you observe the entire process, not simply the shooting. Who was speaking, what was said, were there other things happening? Was there a fight? What happened afterwards? And so on. Once you have making a non-judgmental observation, only at that point are you ready for the second step in this 4-step process. And next time we'll be talking about how to identify the feeling in step 2.